Hey Gabriel, thanks for sending this video in. It was good to see you in Lake Placid. Skiing looks really good. I've watched this a couple times, and I'll basically just play it and see if anything jumps out, and I'll try to relay that info to you. But fundamentally, it looks like you're skiing in really strong. Um, One pointer on that corner. When you see these kind of sweeping corners, you want to be taking slightly more steps if at all possible, because stepping opportunities are also pushing opportunities around a corner. So the kind of more steps you can take, the more pushes you'll get out of that corner. So that's just one feedback there. Um, you look balanced on your skis, which is good. Your hips do drive forward really well, which is awesome. Um, so you're doing so many things right. It's kind of, we're gonna have to dive in and really pick some stuff apart and make some more advanced recommendations here, because you do a good job staying square, particularly in your V2. So what that means is you're not rocking in your hips and shoulders very much. You're really gliding on that ski nicely. You get your hips into a really high position before you pull. You're completing your kick, which is awesome. So when I see you push through your leg here, I want to see you like push that completely straight like that and finish through the toe, just like you're doing there. So that's awesome. Kind of hard to tell from some of the angles here. Occasionally when I see you V2, it looks like you push, you make a really good knee driving push, but then you're stuck with your hips slightly back, in which case you have to pull them up high. So we always want your hips to come into this high position, but you don't always need to sink so low with your push and have your weight out the back. And so the way you would do that is by having a little bit more shin angle with your push. So when you, the ski that you're going to glide on, so let's go back a phase here. So you're about to push on your left leg. You push on your left leg right here, boom. You can see instead of having your hips back here, you want to have a slightly better shin angle, or have that foot maybe slightly further underneath you, so that you then don't have to use the energy to pull your hips up like this every single time, because that takes a lot of work on the quad muscle to do that every single time. You still want to bring your hips into full extension each pulling motion, but if you were to have a little bit more shin angle, right, as that foot strikes the snow or strikes the pavement, you wouldn't have to pull from so far back to get up into that high position each time. So it's not bad, it's just slightly more taxing on the legs what you're doing right there. And so if you think about improving that shin angle, it could be an area for improvement. You mentioned your shoulders. I like your aggressive shoulder pulling. Like, to me, you don't look too hunched. I think that's a powerful position, and I think you'll continue to get more powerful as you build more core strength and strengthen your torso, all that kind of good stuff. You could maybe reach with the elbow a little bit more, which would maybe reduce that hunching motion a little bit. So potentially stand up. Like, we don't really want to be in the position where your hands are so high but your elbows aren't reached at all. So you could possibly reach a little more with the elbows. Poles look quite long actually too, but they're probably the right length. Okay, let's go on to some V1 here. V1 looks really nice as well, really fluid. Your foot placement looks pretty solid. The V2 transition, I think it is good to switch to V2 on a hill like that, but you can see the same thing I was talking about in the clip before. When you push and you drive your leg so far up, you do have to like kind of pull yourself up each time, because your shin angle maybe isn't quite as aggressive as it could be. But you're right, like the dudes that V2 really well up a hill really drive their hands and hips up the hill at the same time. So the hips and hands are kind of together as they drive up the hill. This is a really good pass, really nice foot placement. Shin angle looks good. You're keeping the skis moving. I really like that. I don't have a whole lot to comment about that. I think it looks really good. You can tell as you get tired, so you look more tired in this clip, for example. because I can tell you're pushing less off of your left leg. So your non-pulling side leg, you got to be careful there when you're V1ing in a race. So you're doing a good job pushing off your right side, boop, right there. But then on your left side, you sometimes just like fall off of it right there, okay, right? That's kind of like a falling push versus like actually getting a good push off your left leg right here and really pushing onto your right leg. So that's a little bit of a peg leg situation. And you have it in this clip here too. There's Matt Wickham, US ski team coach. You can see a little bit of a peg leg there as well, just not quite pushing as much as you could off of your left leg, like propelling yourself up the hill on your left leg. So those are really the two main things to work on, I think. Everything else looks quite good. I liked this clip a lot. Nice jump skate, really smooth, and this was a really nice corner. You see you take more pushes on that corner than the one below. So that was a really good clip. Nothing to change there. That looks awesome. Yeah, all around really good skiing. So nice job and keep up the good work.